You may not recognise his face, but you've seen his name. Jim Penman is the founder of Jim's Mowing. You know, the tradies in green trailers that fix your roof, mow your lawn, plug your leaks. That Jim. Now he's opening up about how he made his millions and why you shouldn't keep it in the family.
To the victor, the spoils.
How much would you sell your business for?
$1 billion. Jim's Mowing, Jim's Handyman, Jim's Dog Wash, Jim's Cleaning, Jim's Car Detailing, Jim's Window Cleaning, Jim's Painting, Jim's Mobile Cafe, Jim's Locksmith, Jim's Side Sales, Jim's Energy.
It's the face that launched a corporate colossus, the bearded bloke in the bucket hat.
Jim's Glass, Jim's Paving, Jim's Fly Screens and Blinds, Jim's Hazardous Waste Removal, Jim's Mobile Tyres.
Tonight, we meet the real Jim, Jim Penman, the man behind the brand and the face behind the franchise.
I love it. I really love what I do. I couldn't think of anything more exciting. I find it very difficult to take more than a few days off because work is so interesting.
It all started back in 1970 when a young fellow named Jim, he was 18, started mowing people's lawns for $1.50 an hour. He didn't even have his own lawnmower, so he borrowed his customers. Today, the Jim's Group is one of the world's most recognisable and successful brands. So, who is this bloke Jim? What makes him tick?
I hate letting customers down. I want to make the world a better place. I'm very, very stingy, notoriously so. I get very angry beyond any reason, I suppose, when I see customers not getting looked after. I'm a weak person. If we say we have no sin, we deceive ourselves and the truth is not in us.
And there's one truth, surprisingly, Jim Penman has no problem discussing. The day he cut his own sister's grass and sacked her.
I have a responsibility to my franchisees and I have a responsibility to my other staff. And if I let somebody stay in a job that they weren't suited to and they couldn't do properly, I'm letting everybody else down.
Jim's sister is Jill, and she still hasn't forgiven him.
I don't know why. Jill's a very bright lady. She just couldn't do it. And I had to let her go in the end.
How hard was that?
It was an easy decision to make. I tried her in a number of different jobs. The feedback I was getting was she wasn't doing a great job, and the other staff just simply said she's not up to it, she can't do it.
Well, she says she lived next door and didn't have any food and didn't have any money.
Well, I just wish she'd phoned me, or emailed me, or texted me, or told somebody to tell me, or done something to ask me, because I always looked after her.
Jim says he paid for Jill to come home from the UK to look after their dying mother. The job was a bonus.
She's still pretty angry with you.
Yeah. And if she ever wants to make up with me, I'm here. I don't hold anything against her. I'm always be her brother.
Will you give her a job?
No. No way. No, never.
And if you want a brutal insight into how Jim thinks, here it is.
The job was kind of like an excuse in a way because, I mean, to be blunt about it, it was tax deduction. Because if I paid her moving expenses just as a brother, it's out of my after-tax income. But if I pay it as part of a job, then I get to deduct the $10,000. So,
well, you are a hard man, Jim.
I am a hard man.
And that right there is the mark of the man. Penman is tough, he's uncompromising. He's focused and fiercely protective of his franchisees around Australia. The franchisees who made him filthy rich.
Jim's carpet cleaning, Jim's real estate, Jim's roller doors.
The Jim's Group now has 52 different divisions. There's almost 4,000 franchisees around Australia, and they service 175,000 people a week.
You're a pretty quirky sort of fella, aren't you? You're eccentric and you're a little bit weird. Am I right there?
Well, I'm not weird to me, but...
I say these things because it's all in Jim's book, authorised by him.
It says in here you don't like shaking people's hands.
I'm never crazy about it.
Why don't you like that?
I don't know, I just don't like being too close to people, I guess.
The one exception is the love of his life, his wife, Lee.
Good husband?
Good husband.
Lee is used to Jim's ways. He's penny pinching, like turning off lights. Lee even cuts Jim's hair.
What's it like being married to a tightwad?
Well, yeah, he's a stingy man.
He's a stingy man.
He's very stingy.
Stingy, yeah.
Yeah.
So, like a tightwad.
Yeah, he's tight. So if we go out for dinner or something, I normally pay the bill because I don't want him to see it.
Then the flip side of Jim Penman.
You're very much a humanitarian, aren't you?
Well, you've got to have a purpose in life.
You worry about people's depression, their addictions,
Yeah.
and you want to use your money to cure that.
It's a very big problem. Depression, anxiety, it's getting worse. We see that in the franchise group all the time.
And you've tipped millions, what, $5-6 million into this already? And
Yes.
you're going to put more in.
Much more with time. As the business gets better, we intend to spend more and more. We think there's some very basic changes that can be made, basic science that can help to solve these problems.
And it all began.
That's right. Jim's batteries, Jim's mobile tyres, Jim's photography and drones.
Then there's Jim's Chooks. Not a franchise yet, but with this bloke, you never know.
Well, mowing was the start of all this, but what's next?
We'd love to do Jim's physio, Jim's doctors, Jim's chiropractic, Jim's anything.
What about Jim's dating?
Nah.
Jim's marriage counselling?
Jim's psychologist, yes. We like services where we go to somebody. Jim's diggers, Jim's removal, Jim's tired.
I don't blame Jim. We contacted Jim's sister Jill to offer right of reply, of course, but she declined to comment.